Moin Leute, hier ist wieder Justus vom Pointer. Ich sitze hier heute mit dem britischen Sänger Tom Odell. Hey Tom, how are you?
I'm very good. Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Your new album Jubilee Road is dropping in October. How are you feeling about finally releasing something you've been working on for so long?
It's nice to be able to, make albums and put them out. It's a strange period in between, where I talk about it and people haven't heard it yet. But I'm very proud. I'm very proud of the album.
A lot of these songs on this new album are inspired by friendships and by friends you made living in East London. Did they know about you writing songs about them?
I think they did because the walls were very thin and they could hear me play my piano all day. And some neighbours were more forgiving of that than others. The root of it was inspired by the street, but it sort of inspired stories in my head. So it's semi-fictional and semi-real. I think when you write songs, that line is always very grey. It's a very grey area between sort of reality and this, these characters in your head. I think the best way I can describe it to is sort of dreaming.
You said that your album is very London, but now I want to go kind of back to your childhood. What was it like growing up in Chichester?
It was lovely. It's a very nice town. It's surrounded by countryside, so there's lots of green, and there's lots of fields and wooden gates, and we always had dogs growing up. It's a slower pace of life than a big city, like Hamburg or Berlin or London, but it's nice, and it's full of good people, and I very much enjoy going back and visiting occasionally.
Well, and now you're living in London. How long have you been living in London?
I've lived in London since I was 21.
And what made you fall in love with the city? Because you said your album is very London.
I always seem to have this love of London, even when I lived in Chichester. I think my aunt and uncle, both on separate sides of the family, lived in London when I was a kid. So I'm very fond of both of them. And so going up to visit on the train when I was young, my mum would sometimes let me go up on my own when I was 13 or 14, and you go on the train and you see all the lights, and it just seems like a very exciting place of sort of opportunity. I think that's what it was. It was millions of lives intertwined in a place where anything was possible, and I think that was very appealing to me.
Do you have a favorite spot in London, in the city of London?
Well, I live in the East End of London, and I really like, there's a park near me called Victoria Park, and I very much like it there.
Now I want to ask you something about charity work. In 2014, you actually gave concerts for the charity Music Without Barriers. Are you still active in charity work?
I've done a lot of work recently, or in the past 2 years or so, with a charity called Help Refugees. I've done a lot of stuff with them, and will continue to, because I think it's not a problem that's ever going to go away. People will always migrate, like the birds, and I think it's, to some degree, our right as human beings to, these lines drawn on a map are, why should they determine one person's sort of happiness and health?
Are there any other social topics that you want to raise awareness for?
Well, I think it's fucking stupid that we're Brexiting. But no, I don't like to comment too much on it all. I'm a musician, I'm a songwriter. It's important for me to be able to read about and have an opinion, but not necessarily voice it. I think that it's a terrifying place, the world. Mm-hmm. I can't help but think it probably always has been as well. I don't think it's I read a lot of these reports. They say it's dark times, and I can't help but acknowledge the fact that it's always been.
I've read that Lily Allen actually said that your stage presence is kind of like the one of David Bowie. What do you think your secret to being perceived that way is? To being perceived as such a strong stage presence?
Well, first of all, I'd say the David Bowie comparison was said many years ago, and also, come on, like I have not got a fingerprint of the talent that man has had, and so I'd be slightly skeptical of those comparisons, but I'm touched by it at the same time, maybe slightly touched by it. But I can't take it that seriously. The thing I've learnt through my really short career so far is just if you create art with some depth, and I think with a little bit of depth to it, it's all people seek it out. Yeah. They're very. I feel like our intuition as music listeners is quite sort of astute.
You have an upcoming tour through Europe, the Jubilee Road tour. What are your plans afterwards?
I don't know. I mean, the tour's going to take us probably quite far into next year. So the main focus now is touring. But I have a few other things I'm working on. I'm interested in other types of writing at the moment.
What kind of other types of writings do you mean?
I don't know. Well, I do know, but I don't want to talk about it.
Well, thank you so much for taking your time to answer these questions.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.